Hi, everyone, and welcome into the Ladies' Lunch Break. I am your host, Crystal Fry, a woman's best friend. Today's topic: what are you really afraid of? This one is a really good one, I think. What are you really afraid of? Fear. For the past several months, fear has been a large part of what has been happening in our country. From, everything that we have going on with COVID-19, a global pandemic, right? We're being told stay inside, quarantine, wear a mask, all of these things. Those kind of messages invoke fear. We're constantly being shown the rate of infection, the number of people who are losing their lives to this. That invokes a certain amount of fear. Add into that the more recent events brought on and things that have been brought to the forefront now with racial fears, police brutality fears, fear of safety when we're going from peaceful protests that are turning into violent riots. Fear, my friends, is a really powerful force, and it's one that is more present than ever before. So today we're going to talk about what are you really afraid of? So I want to welcome in anyone who is joining live, and for those of you who are watching in the replay, today we are talking about what are you really afraid of? Today we're talking about fear, but I don't want to talk about fear from the global perspective, okay? We have, like I just said, we have a lot of that we are consuming right now through social media, through traditional media, through all different sources, through our conversations. There's a lot of what is happening from a global perspective that we are consuming right now that can be creating some additional anxiety, some additional fear. So that is not where I want to center our conversation for today. I want to talk about your fear and what you are really afraid of for yourself. Is it failure, success, other people's opinions? Yes, maybe, possibly, perhaps. Maybe it's all of those things. And I can certainly identify with every single one of those fears: the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of what other people are going to think. What are they going to say? What's their opinion going to be based on whatever it is that you do? I can certainly identify with all of those. But these can often point us to a deeper fear, to the truth of what we're really afraid of, that we won't be loved and accepted, that our very basic human need won't be met. And now this is going to hit home and hit hard for some. And I get that. I understand it because this was my story. Okay? Totally get it. But here's the thing about fear. When you shine a light on it, when you pull it out of the darkness, when you shine something into it, when you start to uncover and unpack it, it's not really that scary anymore. Because most of the time we fear things that we don't understand. So if you don't understand something, you automatically kind of are fearful of it. You're not aware, so you're afraid. When you shine the light on it, when you start to unpack it and you start to evaluate things, that fear tends to lessen because knowledge is power, right? So when you take the time to really examine your fears, you can unpack, you can understand them. When you know about something, you can do something, right? Knowledge allows you the ability to make different choices because you're not just dealing with what you have. When you expand that knowledge, you've now expanded your ability to make a choice. And fear is destructive, all right? There's no question there. There's no doubt about that. Fear is destructive. It holds you back. It stifles your growth. It makes you question your value. It makes you question your worth. It makes you question your capability. And yet so many of us, self included, allow fear to control our actions. We give our fears life when we spend our time focused on our fears, when we allow our fears to take hold of our thoughts, and that's where we're putting our focus is on, what we don't understand, what we're afraid might happen, what often it's future tense, right? Future tense, things that haven't happened yet, things that may never happen. But when we put our focus there, instead of on what we currently have, we allow our fear to control our thoughts. And as we all know, our thoughts drive our actions. So tell me, have you actually taken the time to examine your fears? This is not an easy process. It's not a comfortable process because it requires that we, one, look within ourselves, but two, that we pull things out that we would prefer to leave in the dark and leave hidden. We would prefer, because it's more comfortable, because it's what we're accustomed to, because it's the same reason people don't quit bad habits, because it's what we're comfortable with. It's what we're accustomed to. And the pain of that fear has not gotten strong enough to make you look at it and face it and unpack it and overcome it. So in order to get to the root of what's causing you to be fearful about anything. Okay, now this applies in all different areas, whether it is a fear of flying, whether it is fear of trying new foods, whether it is fear of asking for a promotion or asking for a raise, whether it's fear of going to the bank and asking for the capital loan you need to start a business, whether it's fear of actually writing down all of your thoughts and your story on paper and sharing it with other people so that it can bring them hope. Any of those things, fear goes across every aspect of our lives if we allow it. It certainly is present, but it's in whether or not we give it life. It's in whether or not we fuel the fear, or whether we unpack it, uncover it, examine it, minimize it, okay, or diminish it, I should say, not minimize it, because we don't want to necessarily make it smaller, like by ignoring it. What we want to do is we want to bring it to light and get rid of it as much as humanly possible. There are some things that we'll always have some fear of, but we should not be walking around being in fear of our success, being in fear of our failure. You guys, failure is just that. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, try again. Try again. Failure is how you learn. If you did everything right the first time, that would probably actually get pretty boring after a while. You miss out so much on the learning process if that's all you're ever experiencing is success. And for my friends who have a fear of success, I'm right there with you on that one too. Because when you fear success, it's not that, it's not that you don't want to be successful. Fear of success comes in when you start looking at, if I'm successful at this, how does that change my life? But you're not looking at it from the perspective of, well, it'll open up new opportunities and, we'll be able to do things differently. We'll be able to have greater reach, greater impact. When you are fearing success, you look at it from the perspective of, if I'm successful, what am I going to lose? Relationships? Maybe holding on to those fears that I had? Those things that allowed me to make excuses for things. If I become successful at something, I certainly can't call myself a failure anymore now, can I? So all of these things, we have to bring them out and unpack them so that we can understand them. We can understand them and then make the moves to overcome them. Make the moves to overcome them. So part of, and this is all part of the self-discovery process, right? It's all part of your self-discovery journey, is unpacking, identifying, pulling out, facing your fears. And that's not always easy to do on your own. It certainly was not easy for me to do, and I was not able to effectively do it on my own. I had to get help. I had to get a coach. I had 2 coaches, actually. I had to do that for myself because I didn't want to be in that place anymore where I was afraid to move forward with my life, where I was afraid to share the gifts that God gave me to share with the world. I couldn't sit in that place anymore. I couldn't allow myself to be in that place any longer. And so I want to extend that out to you as well. If you need help with this, if you need support in that process, in your self-discovery process, going through and identifying what you need, I have a complimentary 30-minute discovery call that you can get on. It's available to you. You can get on the schedule, and we can start that conversation and start that process. And you can sign up at bit.ly/CME30. Okay. That is, I'm going to put it in the comments right now. bit.ly/CME30. Okay. And that way you can go ahead and get on the calendar, get signed up. Let's have that conversation. Let's talk about it through that discovery call. And let's get on that journey to overcoming our fears, to getting rid of the garbage that we've been taking around with us for so long and stepping into the greatness of who you were created to be. Okay. So you've got the link right down there. I want to thank everyone again who was able to join live. And for those who are watching in the replay, thank you so much for spending your time with me as we are talking about what are you really afraid of today. So I encourage you all to take some time to examine, what are you really afraid of? Ask yourself that question. And as things come up, write them down, because you'll want to go back to those later and try to figure them out. And again, if you need help with that, I absolutely can do it. It would be my pleasure. So until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, a great rest of your week. Be sure to come back and join me here on Friday for Friday Night Live. And until then, I am a woman's best friend, teaching women to see themselves, love themselves, and transform into themselves, into the women they were created to be. Have a great afternoon.